Well, good morning. My name is Billy Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Hope that you are fantastic on this glorious Monday morning. Hope you got the catch up that I did that got released earlier this morning. I promised you that this would be out later too, in a couple hours. Told you, warned you. Anyway, it was an interesting last week. My wife was out of town visiting her sister, and good thing because the AC here went kaput, and at the hottest time in the year, it was over 92 degrees here in the studio, which is why we didn't have the computer up, why we didn't record. You understand. In any case, we appreciate you being here today. We have 3 stories today that we want to cover, and all of them are thought provoking. In a YMCA now, I had to go back and find out if I was right about what YMCA stands for. It stands for Young Men's Christian Association. Now, what we're finding out is that the Y or the YMCA is just a business at this point and not so much a Christian organization. It isn't. Please do not be fooled into thinking that the YMCA or the YWCA, it almost doesn't exist anymore, is a Christian organization. The YWCA of Monterey, I read on their website, is really not a Christian organization, and they don't really do Christian things. They don't. So, and they don't require that you be a Christian to get help or participate. It's a gym like any other gym. Go to Shapes, you go to I don't know, any of the other gyms. Obviously, I'm not a gym person. Look at me. Yeah, and all this luscious fatness, not hanging out at the gym. But it's just a gym that has programs that babysits kids in the summertime. This particular YMCA is in Illinois. Is the Springfield YMCA has a swim team, like a lot of Ys, called the Typhoons. They're in Springfield, Illinois. We have found that it now allows dudes who think they're chicks or pretending they're chicks to go into the girls' locker room, including minor girls, when they're in there and getting dressed and undressed. The coaches at the YMCA administrators began this practice without telling any of the girls or the parents. They just said, okay. They didn't make a big announcement about it. They didn't say this was happening. And here's one of the stories here. On April 27th, just a couple months ago, my 16-year-old daughter, this is from the mom, a member of the YMCA Spy swim team, entered the girls' locker room to change out of her swimsuit and noticed a couple of, quote, transgender individuals, dudes. When we say this, we mean dudes, right? Sitting in the locker room. My daughter went back out to the pool deck and informed the head swim coach of the situation and he responded to her by saying, nothing I can do about it. Okay. So your 16-year-old goes to the swim coach and doesn't make a big deal about it in the locker room and says, there's a couple of guys in there. And the coach goes, nothing I can do about it. So the next month in May, the swim team held their monthly parent meeting. Now these meetings are important because these parents participate because they pay money for this stuff to happen. The Y doesn't provide anything. These parents pay money for that pays for the coaches. They pay money that pays for the place, the pool, the uniforms, the whole deal. They pay money. So they have their parent meeting where the issues of the girls' locker room used by dudes was brought up. The meeting was attended by the chief executive officer of the YMCA. The parents were told there's nothing that can be done about it. Nothing you can do. You can be mad. You can be pissed off. You can be upset. Oh well. Parents asked if the YMCA could ask the boys to use the family changing area. And this was my solution years ago when this got brought up. The family changing area has basically it's a door. It's a bathroom like you have in your house. It's a door, one person in there at a time. You can change there. The YMCA staff said they could not do that because it's discrimination against the law. Really. I am sure at this point, parents are freaking out. They're getting pissed off. The parents asked the YMCA if the YMCA could send out a notification to the swim team members that boys were using the girls' locker room so that people could make an informed decision for their families. Again, the YMCA said, we can't do anything because it's discrimination against the law. So after the parents' meeting, my daughter, her mom, and another swim mom approached Mrs. The CEO, the chief operating officer, and the coach, and said that she didn't understand what was happening, and asked how long the YMCA knew about this. The coach laughed and said, "Well, transgender people have been around for a long time." My daughter then stated, "That's not the question." And they said that we've known for a while. This was happening. They've known for a while, but they did not tell the parents. So a meeting was set up between the YMCA staff for parents to attend and voice their concerns regarding the matter, because they had to give them an opportunity to voice their concerns because they pay money. If you've tried to get into the Y and try to get in shape and blah blah blah, you'll find out is that the Y is not free, and the YMCA is not the cheapest choice of gyms. It is not. Okay. So the meeting was to take place on May 18th at the YMCA administrative office. At the YMCA administrative office, without reasonable notification, the YMCA canceled the meeting about 2 hours before it was to take place. Okay, you have this meeting 2 hours before it's supposed to start. YMCA says we're not having a meeting; it's canceled. So, feeling dismissed without resolution, my daughter and one teammate hung signs in the girls' locker room on May 23rd, 5 days later, in support of their position. The sign reads, "Women's rights, biological women only, and safe sport." Those were the signs. Now, in this atmosphere, these signs are provocative. Nothing wrong with them, but they are provocative. A day later, at the beginning of the normal swim team practice, the coaches, the branch director, pulled all the girls aside for a meeting to discuss the hanging of the signs. They indicated that this was not acceptable. So women's rights at the YMCA in the girls' locker room, not acceptable. Safe sport, not acceptable. Biological women only in the girls' locker room, not acceptable. I want to make sure that we know that what we're talking about here. My daughter approached the coach, and immediately after the meeting indicated that she was involved in the hanging of the signs. She said, "I did it." She said that she did this because her previous attempts to correct this were dismissed by the Y staff. They just want them to shut up about it. They just want you to shut up about it, right? She was not allowed to participate with the swim team. She was asked to leave the pool area. She was kicked out. The swim coach and the YMCA administrators colluded to keep the sexual integration of girls in private spaces secret from minor girls. Hurled at her the ugly and false allegation that the signs about women's rights are hateful, and then expelled her from the team. They should all apologize to the break. Well, they shouldn't apologize. You see, this is the bar set too low. There shouldn't be any freaking apologies. There should be some change in policies. Dudes can't be in the girls' locker room. That's what needs to happen. She doesn't need an apology. She needs a change of policy. That's not it. I think that we continue to set the bar too low. Well, they should say they're sorry. No, look, first of all, they're not going to say that. I don't I'm at the point in my life, I don't give a crap about, I'm sorry. I don't care about that. I don't. Change the policy. The Illinois Freedom Caucus and the family involved in are having a press conference this Thursday coming up on the 13th at the Rotary Park in Springfield, Illinois. So if you're watching this and you're somehow in that area at the Rotary Park in Springfield, Illinois, let's hope and pray that there's many courageous community members. Get out. The only way that we stop this nonsense is to stand up. And when you stand up, you end up being like that game, that whack-a-mole. Yes, you stand up and you could get knocked down. You could. But that's the only way. There is no other way. There is no polite way to go about this. There is no polite speech to go about this. Athletic clubs, parks, districts, and public schools led by sheeple and cowards who self-identify as leaders are denying common sense, science, decency, safety, and basic human rights in deference to nonsensical and dangerous ideology. They care more about money, power, and reputation than they do about protecting women and children. That's a provocative statement, but it's true. Either bodies matter or they don't. If the objective physical embodiment of as male or female matters, then the sexual integration of spaces in which related and unrelated people undress is ignorant and evil. If objective embodiment as male or female does not matter, there remains no reason why to maintain any sex segregated spaces anywhere for anybody. So if they start this, the door is open. There isn't any reason why the 43-year-old man can't be in the bathroom with your 8-year-old daughter. Like a Target. And unfortunately, I think that there are a lot of people who are the conservative Christian type who want to just live a peaceful life and they want to be polite. But you can only be polite until they come after your children, until your kids are involved, until your daughter's traumatized, until something happens. Until something happens. That could have been prevented. That should have been prevented. We'll be back right after this.
Show you how I would deliver this conservative message to the Black community. Can I do that real quick? I hear you. I feel you. I get it. Life in your America sucks. Your parents didn't care or weren't there. The schools pushed you out without making sure you can read. Politicians tell you that a brighter tomorrow, so you smoke as much as you can to get through today. You are tired of seeing your brothers, sons, daughters, cousins, your friends killed, imprisoned, or lost to drugs. You want to do the right thing, but all it takes is one time, one mistake for everything to go wrong. And picking yourself up seems impossible because you can't get a job when you have a record. You're sleeping on your mama's couch because you can't afford your own space. You feel unfit to parent your children because your life is so screwed up. What in the hell are you going to teach them? I get it. I know. But you are being surrounded by the people that championed your tracks. They developed your public housing. They took control of your education. They sent your fathers to jail for non-violent offenses. Made single motherhood cool by calling it feminism. Built the police force through unionization you claim harassed you. And now when you're fed up, they give agitators reign to burn down your city. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. If your friends are yelling for death and destruction, do they actually want change? Is that what you live in now? Democrats want to be the party of the poor. In order for that to happen, they have to keep you poor. You always have to fight the oppressor. That will mean you are always oppressed. You call us the party of the rich. And I'm straight out of Stacey South. Well, I had it written down already. We just think like, you call us the party of the rich. And I'm not going to be spineless like those who run from it. I'm not rich, but by the grace of God, I will be. I love the feeling of security. I love being financially dependent on no one but myself and my husband. I love being able to provide my daughters with Nikes and books, an iPad and robotic chips. It is a great feeling. Now come and eat with us. Come and eat with us. If you are tired of being poor and overlooked, come and eat at a table that believes in ownership and growth. See, we won't begrudge your success because we know that the next dinner is on you.
Well, welcome back. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. The Morning Report, again, is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Trust that you are well. Like I said, once we stand up now, these things will go on without impediment. We cannot be agnostic about it. We cannot hope that it's a fad and it goes away, which is about what will happen, but not before a lot of damage is done. And this is the mentality behind the DeSantis campaign. You know, it's one of the things I heard from a friend of mine who works in local politics. She's a volunteer and she does a great job. And frankly, she's the only Republican who's come to my door since we've been in this house more than 20 years. In more than 20 years. Suppose she's the only Republican who wasn't a candidate. I did have a friend of mine who was a candidate who came to my door to ask for my vote. And I had a friend of mine who was a Democrat who came to my door. But other than that, I've not had any political party or politician come to my door and ask for my vote, as I live in a 70-30 Democrat district. How it is. That's where the house was that we could afford. That's where we've been. That's where we've been. But I had a friend of mine, and she asked me, you know, should DeSantis run this time, or should he just wait his turn? Wait his turn? Why? And my question is why? Outkick host Tommy Lahren asked DeSantis about voters who argued that the governor should have waited his turn to run in 2028 rather than 2024 against Trump, rejecting the idea that anyone is entitled to a turn at running for president, that somebody is entitled a turn. You know, a very good friend who passed away last year. His name is Eddie Adams Jr. Eddie Adams Jr. ran for Congress, and in the 70-30 district that I live in. And and managed to get about 36% of the vote. He got pretty much whatever Republican vote there was and some of the independent vote in this district. And he ran 3 or 4 times. And all along, people kept saying, well, Eddie, why don't you run for city council? Eddie, why don't you run for this? Why don't you run for that? Why don't you do this? And he said to them, because I can run for whatever the hell I want. Because this is what I want to do. So there isn't any reason to wait. There's any reason to run for something that somebody thinks you should run for. Right? So here's what DeSantis said. He said, first of all, in America, we don't have turns. And for a lot of you who watched my videos and thought that I was a Trumper and dyed in the wool. And I'll give you a little history about me and Trump in just a second. But I digress. We don't have turns. People can run if they believe they have something to offer to the country. I can tell you, as someone who's worn the country uniform, served in Iraq, who believes in a cause greater than myself, I believe that 2024 is make or break, as DeSantis said. The governor echoed recent claims saying that he is the one who can defeat President Joe Biden. The governor also said, I believe 2024 is make or break. I don't think we have time for excuses. I've shown the ability to defeat Democrats. He added, yes, at the ballot box by winning Florida's most historic, by a historic margin, but also on the issue after issue. I got to tell you, as a Floridian, the governor is kicking butt and taking names. Now, before all you people who support President Trump, before you get mad at me, and I don't want anybody to misunderstand. In 2016, nobody in this house voted for President Trump in the primary. There were 2 votes for Marco Rubio and 1 vote for Ted Cruz. In the general election, there were 3 votes for Donald Trump. In 2020, there were 3 votes for Donald Trump. Because it was a thing that made the most sense. It just was, right? But there's no wait your turn. And as far as Governor DeSantis goes, I actually voted for Adam Putnam. Why? Because Adam's a friend of mine. That's why. DeSantis told Laren that his ability to take action and walk the walk has proven that he will deliver promises to Americans, citing his successful handling of lockdowns, education, and transgender athletes, competing with women and illegal migrants, all this stuff. Despite the Florida governor being behind the polls, DeSantis has dismissed the negative reaction, saying that he is running to win in January and February, not do juice polling now. A recent Marquette University Law School poll found that while Trump led DeSantis by only 1 percentage point on the GOP primary field, DeSantis beat Trump by a whopping 57 to 41% when asked who they would vote for in a head-to-head matchup between the 2 rivals. Political analyst Robert Collins told Newsweek that DeSantis' decision to run in 2024 was bold, arguing that the governor is a young candidate with time to wait for the next election cycle. See, that's the whole idea. This other people deciding when people do stuff. Why? It's nonsensical. Some candidates feel that they only get 1 shot, and if they don't take their shot in time, the moment will pass them by, and the attention of the voters will shift elsewhere. Collins said DeSantis is young enough to wait and run for president in a future cycle. However, DeSantis is placing a bet that he thinks will eventually, a criminal conviction will remove Trump. No, he doesn't believe that at all. Because it was about DeSantis doesn't care because frankly, DeSantis is attached to Trump inexorably. A lot of governors and a lot of people, a lot of uh, um, politicians are inexorably tied to Donald Trump in some way, shape, or form because of 2016. So it doesn't have anything to do with that. Ron DeSantis believes that he has something to offer the country now, outside of Donald Trump. Now, and if we believe that 2024 is make or break, it doesn't matter. If you have something to bring to the table, bring that to the table now. If you got some food to bring the food now while I'm hungry. Because 4 years from now, I may be dead. I will have starved. But you were waiting for the right time. Nonsense. Trump previously criticized DeSantis for running against him, calling him disloyal. The 45th president claimed that without his endorsement, DeSantis would not have secured the Republican nomination in Florida in 2018. Maybe that's true. I'll tell you what, and I've done a short about it. When Ron DeSantis showed up against Adam Putnam, it just seemed like the whole DeSantis campaign was, I like Trump, Trump likes me. I like Trump, Trump likes me. But I'm telling you, I'd like to submit this, that the general election in Florida would not have been as close without the connection to Trump. DeSantis would have won that election, or might have won that election by a larger margin, had he not been attached to Trump. I'm just submitting this for your consideration. Just submitting it. Just submitting it. We don't have turns, folks. So this whole idea that DeSantis, because he's young, should have waited, and this is exactly what my friend told me. Well, he's young; he can wait, because maybe it's not. Maybe just maybe. Can I submit to you that maybe it's that he doesn't think that it's about him and his opportunity? Because frankly, the dude is living a charmed life. Successful governor of the state of Florida, ex-military. His wife just kicked cancer's ass. Got two beautiful kids. He's got a few ducats in the bank. Just go about his life. Just go out, get on his boat, just fish and chill. And who needs any of this? He could. What do you think? Write it in the comments. I know, every time I mention something positive about Durant, DeSantis, I lose subscribers on this channel. Okay. If that's if that's what the deal is, that's what the deal is. Fine. All right. We'll be back to finish up right after this. Well, hey, let's finish up. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We appreciate you being here. It's Monday, July 10th. Again, super happy you're here. There's a new movie out called Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom is a movie that is exposing child trafficking, child slave trafficking. Now, this is interesting because I want to submit something to you. Here's the article. An article is from Town Hall written by Sarah Arnold. Despite what liberal media wants you to think, the new hit film Sound of Freedom isn't about QAnon conspiracy theories or white supremacy. It is not. The anti-child trafficking movie, released on the 4th of July, dives deep into the disturbing world of child pedophilia, which the left has sought to suppress Americans from. CNN host Abby Phillip and Mike Rothschild so that he can fear monger Americans into not seeing the movie. They hope that it can fear monger Americans from not seeing the movies, which he claims is created out of a moral panic and QAnon concepts. Rothschild accused the story's protagonist, Jim Cazaville, Cazazell, I believe his name is pronounced. The story's protagonist, depicting DHS's agent Tim Allard, a real person, of embracing QAnon theories, specifically a version that maintains an idea that the elites drink the blood of children to imbibe this alleged chemical and androchrome, whatever. He's openly using catchphrases and its concepts. He's speaking at QAnon conventions. What about the actor that played the role? And this film is being marketed to either specific QAnon believers or people who believe all the same tenets as QAnon, but claim they don't know what it is, Rothschild says. So Rothschild is trying to say, this is all this QAnon crap. Don't, whatever. Rothschild also says that the movie is being created out of bogus statistics and fear. However, movie is based on true events. The stats are real, and millions of children are trafficked daily. This is what happened. In 2013, 10 years ago, Ballard quit his job as a DHS special agent to establish Operation Underground Railroad, which helps rescue trafficked children from sex slavery and exploitation worldwide. He said his child trafficking is the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world. $150 billion is made every year off the backs of slaves, including millions of children who are enslaved, Ballard said. To put Rothschild's comments in perspective, CNN is home to some journalists involved in sex crimes, such as former producer Don Griffin, who was sentenced to 19 years in prison for coercing a woman online to bring her 9-year-old daughter to Vermont to engage in sexual acts. Now, let's just say that all the things that Rothschild is talking about, let's say they're all true. Let's say that the actor is down with all that stuff. And that is the actor's motivation to do the movie. Let's just say that's true. I was talking to my son yesterday. We were on our way to pick my wife up from her sister's. And we talked about this. Said, what if all that's true? What if it's all true? All the QAnon stuff that the actor is just pushed by all this QAnon stuff. If the way that he is manifesting that is producing a movie to expose and bring more attention to children who are being used as sex slaves and rescuing them, is that not, even if his motivation by your own determination is weird and off base, isn't that a positive outcome for everybody still? Why? I don't know why you would rail against somebody, Tim Ballard, I believe his name is, right? The real agent who stopped his life to rescue children out of sex slavery. And you are railing against this movie that depicts Tim Ballard rescuing children out of sex slavery, that you are somehow wailing against this movie because the actor who plays Tim Ballard has QAnon connections, or you believe that he does? He thinks stealth protests too much. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report for Monday, July 10th, 2023, in the year of our Lord. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.